Welcome back to your GG replay for June 18th, 2021. Hosted by the Goodnight Groofs, a place for games and a place for goofs. Still kind of workshopping that one there. I am joined as always by Matt, and we are here to break down all of the latest gaming news. It's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast where we just give you your daily dose of groof. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. Paul, today you are sparkling like this sparkling water.
Wow.
Shout out to Bubbly. Sponsorships are open.
Can you imagine? I think I'd be most happy because we'd be able to knock Michael Bublé off the sponsorship pedestal. I'm sick of watching his commercials for Bubbly, and I think I would be a better spokesperson, even though you're the one drinking it. I think me personally.
No, but I gotta say you're looking good today. I like a little gruffness to your look. I like it. I like the hat.
Thank you.
What is that brand? What is that?
It is Bench. I don't know if you guys have Bench.
Sounds like a skater brand.
It is a skater brand, but they had these at Costco, and I got a 2-pack for like $5, and they're pretty good. I lost the other one, but this one goes on. Rachel and I actually share these hats. This hat, sorry. We trade off. Whoever needs a baseball cap that day will use the hat, so it's kind of our communal hat.
Very nice.
It's a true story.
Very
I like
nice.
I love your gray shirt today too, looking very clean cut, very nice, very
neutral.
charcoal. Very neutral.
Yeah.
I like it.
I went neutral
I'm
today.
here for it.
I'm Switzerland today.
Beautiful. Well, you went neutral. We're going Nintendo. It is a Nintendo-filled day today because we just had Nintendo's E3 show, which is awesome, and there was stuff. There was some stuff.
There was stuff.
I think a lot of people are going to be excited about a lot of this stuff. First and foremost, the thing that everyone was waiting for. Can I just preface this before we talk about Breath of the Wild? Because I was messaging, Matt couldn't watch it, and I was watching it live. And I like I was saying, Matt couldn't watch it as if like you weren't allowed. Or something. Matt was
the parental controls didn't allow me to watch that one. Sorry.
Nintendo, the most mature studio out there. No, so Matt couldn't watch it, and I was kind of updating him on Discord, letting him know what was going on. And I just felt like Nintendo really trolled us really hard. They were like, "This is the last thing we're going to announce today," and I just felt like they weren't, when they said that it wasn't going to be like, "Here's all the Zelda news." It sounded like they were like, "This, whatever we're about to show you, is the last thing we're going to announce today." And then they show Link and Zelda, and then they show Hyrule Warriors DLC. And
yeah,
I was just like, this is the biggest troll ever. Like, is this really, like, this would be, there's no way they're gonna leave it on this because it's insane. And then they did announce, well, they didn't announce, but they showed some gameplay. They showed some in-engine stuff from Breath of the Wild 2 and gameplay. And Matt, I would say you're the Nintendo Switch guy here more than me. What did you think of as someone who's played Breath of the Wild 1? What did you think of the Breath of the Wild 2 stuff?
Yeah, so I'm a Nintendo Switch guy, but I'm one of the rare breeds of people that doesn't think that Breath of the Wild was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, I don't think it's a bad game at all. I really don't. It's cliche, but I am one of the people who the whole weapon durability thing was a big turnoff. I still played the game, didn't beat it, but I put probably 20 hours or so into the game. Maybe like
that's kind of part of the reason I didn't buy a Switch right away. I still haven't bought one because I think one of the big things is like to play Breath of the Wild is like one of the big sells, and I just it doesn't super appeal to me. It looks good, but not great.
I do think Nintendo Switch is worth it just for Mario Odyssey, to be honest.
That's the game that's more enticing to me, actually. Yeah.
That game is
But this is
amazing.
the Breath of the Wild. This is the Breath of the Wild talk.
Yeah,
so
it looked like Breath of the Wild.
It
looked like a Breath of the Wild sequel. Nintendo hasn't done a whole lot of like direct sequels with the same engine. I think Majora's Mask, as far as like main consoles, not handheld, I think Majora's Mask might be the only. Am I right on that? I think it's the only like sequel with the same engine for a Zelda game, and that was obviously for Ocarina of Time.
I don't know. I can't give you that one, but that seems right to me. When I thought of a direct sequel to a Zelda game on the same console, all I could think of was that. I'm willing to think that maybe some of the Game Boy games had direct sequels in the same kind of style.
Yeah.
like
Oh,
Link to
and
the
you know what? I
Past.
guess like on the
So
NES, yeah. I mean, on the
yeah,
NES we had the yeah. Okay, so but it's been a
and like
while.
we're Skyward Sword, like Twilight Princess, were those. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is,
It's been a
yes,
while.
probably, but it's been a while.
Um, you know, we saw some new abilities. There was an ability where Link is like going up through the ground. That was kind of interesting. We saw, you know, Link floating through the skies, which that's the big new features. They're taking us
Game.
to the skies above the main part of
Kind of
the
like a
world.
BioShock Infinite
Yeah,
meets Nagrand's Breath of the Wild.
yeah, almost. You know, we don't know a whole lot other than that we're taken to the skies and that there's new abilities. And, you know, beyond that, I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of changes because it's just more Breath of the Wild probably. But
Yeah.
one thing that does have me wondering is the fact that the game still doesn't have a name.
Yeah, and Nintendo kind of came out interestingly and said that they didn't want to name it yet because it would spoil something about the game, or could spoil something about the game, I think was their wording, which is pretty interesting because we're, you know, I mean, we're coming up to 2022. I mean, if we were to assume it could come out early 2022, we don't know. You know, what is it going to spoil now that would really matter going forward? Like, are they so worried? Is it so salacious that it would cause speculation? I feel like it might just be Nintendo being Nintendo, and
Yeah,
just kind of it's more tantalizing to say something like this than to actually give us a name.
it's either that, it might be Nintendo wanting another opportunity to reveal something later on. Unless the subheading like has something directly related to a gameplay feature.
That's yeah.
Like like a,
People are
like
saying like
a
time, if it's time travel related or
yeah,
something, that
something
could
like
come up and
that.
that could really be spoiled pretty hard. Yeah.
But other than that, you know, it's kind of weird. It's weird that if
Yeah.
the title is a spoiler, why would it be a spoiler now but not 6 months
Later.
from now? Unless it
Or I
is
guess they
related
just
to a
want to
gameplay
trick,
feature. I don't know.
or if they want to trickle news out, I guess they can save it for later, save it for holiday. I don't know. But
All
yeah,
I'm saying is get rid of the weapon durability, or you know what, keep it in there, but give me a chance to like repair my weapons,
yeah, see, I think repairing would be good. The fact that it's dead forever is a real bummer, I think.
or like go a little bit lighter on it. Like it was one of those things where like your weapon would break so quickly that it was just so frustrating. It's like, okay, I'm getting used to this. I like this. And then all of a sudden it's broken and I'm on to the next thing. Like, let me have some sort of connection with a weapon. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I like to keep things long term, especially something you like and you like the play style of and the feel of, and yeah, it's kind of a disappointment. Also, things that are kind of a disappointment. Nintendo, everyone was waiting. One of the biggest things besides Breath of the Wild, I think a lot of people were waiting for news on Metroid Prime 4. People were waiting to hear more about the latest entry in the Metroid Prime series. What am I trying to say here? Series. And and I wanted to say season. I'm playing too much Fortnite. The Metroid Prime series. And Nintendo said they were working on it. And that's all they said. They said, we're working on it. But they said, well, we're working on it. We do have another thing, Metroid, to show you. And that was the first 2D Metroid game since 2002. Metroid 5, as they said initially, but then they said Metroid Dread, which is a pretty ominous and cool name. Yeah, and I got to say, first take on it, as someone who hasn't played a lot of Metroid, but I have dabbled. I feel that we have a lot of games nowadays that have taken kind of a stylized view of these kind of side-scrolly Metroidvania games. You have things like Celeste, you have things like Dead Cells, Ori, Hollow Knight. I feel like you're seeing things that have this really beautiful stylized look, and I think Metroid obviously is trying to go for the stylized look that it had sort of like, but you could, sorry, what I'm saying is you could argue that it's going for the stylized look, but I feel like it just looks like a Game Boy game. And that they just kind of left it like that, and they didn't. It doesn't. It feels like they could do better on the visuals.
So
That's my take.
what's weird is that I feel like we've gone so full circle to the point that Metroid copycats are now so stylized that
Yes.
an actual new Metroid game looks generic.
Yeah,
Like
I think that's really fair to say.
like it's so weird to say, but like it looked fun. It looks like it's gonna be a fun game, but artistically, yeah, it looked like weirdly generic to me. I don't know,
It was
but
left behind.
I know that people are super excited about this. This is a weird game because Metroid Dread, like the title, has been rumored forever, for like 15 years. There is actually a game being developed for the DS in 2005 that got canceled. Then later, like 3 years later, it was supposed to be, they were returning to the idea, but that was canceled again. So, I don't think it's the same game that it was in 2005, but
Yeah.
Obviously they're using the title kind of in a little
Maybe the
cheeky
same
way.
style a little bit. Same
Maybe,
style a little
could
bit.
be.
I don't know.
I haven't played like an actual Metroid game since, it was some launch DS title.
Same.
And
I played Game Boy games, Yeah.
And so, I've played Metroid Copycats recently,
Fun. Yeah.
but not an actual Metroid game. So I actually kind of am excited about Metroid Dread, just because, let's give some love to the people who really started this whole thing. So I know a lot of people are really pumped about it, and to be honest, I'm excited about it too. Like I said, the art styles to me looks a little generic, but I don't think that's fair to say necessarily.
I think there's a ton of people who
since
want
they created
that,
this thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there's a lot of people who want it. And I think the argument that it's stylized to look like Metroid is totally fair. And so, yeah, I get that. Not necessarily a game for me, but I think hardcore Metroid fans are already going ballistic and are super excited. So that's awesome. Maybe bringing games back that were initially announced in 2002, maybe we'll finally get StarCraft Ghost if we ask just hard enough.
If we ask really nicely.
Yeah, and it'll look like a Sega Dreamcast game.
That's never happening.
So speaking of games from the past, blast from the past, a little bit remastered or brought back, seems to be Nintendo's kind of whole MO these days, and that continues with the newest Mario Party game. Got announced, Mario Party Superstars. Looks pretty great. Looks really visually awesome. Looks like a new kind of a Switch game. But that being said, it's pretty much the best of the N64 Mario Party games, kind of put together and redone and remastered. It's pretty cool. We just got some Mario Party just a couple years ago, so it's kind of interesting that some games can go such a long time, and some games, maybe it's based on sales and things like that, can kind of come back much sooner. What's your take on that, Matt? Are you a Mario Party player? I've honestly played a lot of I've played a lot of Nintendo Party games and things, but not really Mario Party so much since I was like a kid, at least. Then I did a bit more.
I love Mario Party. I love Mario Party games. It's been a while since I've been in like a personal crew where we can get together and play it. The online capabilities of this new one are going to be nice.
I think that was the big story, right? That they were saying that every map is going to have online capabilities, and so that's going to be a huge thing, I think, in this day and age to have that. Because I think it's typically something that Nintendo lags behind. I think with the Switch and with Mario Party, it might bring it back to the foreground.
But like you said, it's weird. Super Mario Party just came out like 2.5 years ago. To somewhat of a lukewarm reception. People thought it was missing things that it really should have had. But it is weird. It's like, I don't really understand why they aren't building onto that, adding DLC to it, and coming out with this, adding new boards to that. Instead, they're coming out with a full new
standalone.
Well, I guess the reason why is that it's $60 instead of 10, 15 or whatever.
If Nintendo comes out with something they call a standalone, then they can just charge full game price for it. But if they have DLC, they have to kind of like cut it down a little bit.
I always have fun when I'm playing Mario Party games. I'm a big sucker for those party kind of games with mini games and getting people together and just having a good time and casual group gaming. I'm big on that. Yep. I don't know how much I'm gonna play of this, but it's intriguing. They didn't say a whole lot, so there's more to be seen. But is it going to be a half-assed attempt like Super Mario Party? I don't know. I hope not. Hopefully they learned a lesson. Although you know what, Super Mario Party is one of the best-selling Switch games, so who knows? They probably don't give a shit.
I feel like they're kind of like, we can half-ass a Mario Party game, and people will buy it like crazy. So what do we care? And I will say, if you do feel like they half-assed the new Mario Party game, there's always WarioWare, which also got announced, and that's the underground you know, little brother of Mario Party. So you have that too, if you want something that feels more complete, but also never was intended to feel complete in the first place. So little bit of a double-sided coin on that. But we got a lot of party games, which is kind of interesting. I guess it's, you know, as we're all kind of starting to move back into a more normal way of life, maybe we'll get together and play some more party games. So that's cool.
I think when you were updating me and you were saying a WarioWare game was announced, I was just like, WarioWare is just always so weird. Like that's just the first thing that came to mind. It's so weird. It seems like one of those games that probably just does really well in Japan. I don't know how well it does over here. I'm sure it has an audience. I know it has an audience.
Wasn't bad actually in the trailer. I thought it was better than I would have thought. Like it was less just fart jokes. Although every time they cut to Wario, he did have his finger up his nose, but it kind of worked. It kind of worked for me. Speaking of things that never worked for most people, Cyberpunk 2077 is finally coming back to the PlayStation Store on June 21st, just after this weekend. It's the same. It's the same. Users will continue to experience performance issues with the PS4 edition, is what Sony has said. So basically, Sony's going on to say they're doing CD Projekt Red a slight bit of a favor, but themselves mostly, by saying, play it on a PS4 Pro, play it on a PS5. Even though the PS5 version of the game isn't out yet, they're like, just play the PS4 version on there because it's probably not going to run on the PS4 still, but we will let them at least sell it, and it's kind of up to you to deal with. But what do you think, Matt? Is it too late? Have they lost out on a lot of money here? Are we ever going to see this come back? Do you think people are going to jump on now, buy it?
That's a great question. I honestly don't know. You know, it's funny because a little inside baseball here, but before the first GG replay on Monday, we did 3 tests, and during one of those tests we had a Cyberpunk story, and I said during that I think it's possible it's never coming back to the PlayStation Store, the PS4 version at least. I thought until there was a PS5 only version specifically, then it would come back. I was wrong. This is weird. It's weird that Sony is acknowledging the fact that people are going to have performance issues on the PS4 edition, but that they're still allowing it to come back. So I don't really know what has changed, especially considering...
I'd love to know what happened backwards in the back rooms of the corporate deals here, like how much pressure maybe was put on Sony. Not pressure, but, you know, some screws that CD Projekt Red to put Sony, or how much money they had to give them to get them to do this, because Sony still seems apprehensive. Like there's still nothing really seems to have changed, and Sony's even saying, don't play it on that system because they don't want to have to deal with the refunds. So
it's weird. It's just weird. The last hot fix for the game for Cyberpunk was in April, so you know, I think people are hoping that they're taking a Hello Games approach, you know, the No Man's Sky approach, where they go dark, just stay completely quiet, working hard, and then they'll come out with just this awesome new version of Cyberpunk in a year.
I think that's a bad road to go down. I think when you look at that, you look at Hello Games and you see that Hello Games was a company that if they didn't fix No Man's Sky, their company's gone, and they had nothing.
True.
But CD Projekt Red, not to say they don't care, but like, not to say the developers don't care, but CD Projekt and the big corporate guys, they don't care. They don't have to care. They made their money, and they can move on to the next project. And I'd love to hope that they do that, but I don't think it's going to be like Hello Games. I don't think nearly as much rides on it. And I don't know if we're going to see anything. I think they're going dark just to go dark and move on to the next project and call it a day.
Look, the whole thing is so weird. Cyberpunk was the fastest selling PC game of all time.
Yeah.
The record was set like a week earlier by Shadowlands, the WoW expansion, and then Cyberpunk topped it. But so they made their money, like you said. It wasn't a Hello Games situation where they were riding on that.
And not even just money, but like for Hello Games, like their rep is on the line, right? This is like their one thing that they'd spent years doing, and if they don't do it, it's over. So
I've seen a lot of people making the point that you know, The Witcher 3 is CD Projekt's only good game. So did they really just get lucky? I disagree with that. I push back on that. I think The Witcher 2 was a good game. I think that Gwent is actually a good standalone card game.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Cyberpunk, if you're playing it on PC, is a good game.
And if there's issues, there's still issues, but there may be quests and things that could have been done better. But I think it's hard to argue that the game isn't a really cool, awesome concept that they did like a 8 out of 10 job executing, or a
Sure.
7 like it may not have been what people wanted or what like the best you could have done with it, but it's pretty damn impressive in a lot of ways.
The fact of
Still,
the fact of the matter is the game needed another year at least, probably, of
yeah.
development,
We
and
know now the crunch and what they were under.
they pushed it out. It turned a lot of people off, and I don't know, like CD Projekt, I'm still hopeful that, we can get some good Witcher content in the future, but I know that a lot of people have completely turned on CD Projekt, and deservedly so, and they will never support them again. I'm just curious to see where this goes. I'm very surprised that Sony is bringing the PS4 edition back,
Yeah.
especially this soon, especially when we haven't gotten the performance fixes. They just haven't happened yet.
100%.
So I don't know. There's not a whole lot more to say on that, but yeah, on
No.
June 21st, it's coming back to the PlayStation Store.
And I say, don't hold your breath because this game is far from breathtaking. On to the next story, we have GTA Online servers are shutting down forever. What? But only on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 on December 16th. So we have some time to go. You can play it for the rest of the year, more or less. But come Christmas time, you're going to need to open up a new console, at least last generation's console, if you want to be playing GTA Online on Christmas Day. Little Billy. Shark Cash cards will no longer be sold after September 15th. So even then, you got to buy your Shark Cash early because it's not going to be there anymore. And to be honest, I'll tell you, for me, I haven't played GTA 5 besides on 360. I played it when it came out a lot. And then I kind of just stopped playing it. I didn't really get into GTA Online, I'll be honest. I tried a little bit. I think I should have waited till now when it actually is really great and we have like the RP servers and things like that. Maybe I'll get into it on like a proper generation of console. We shall see. Matt, what is your take? How do you feel? When did you primarily play GTA 5 when it came out?
No, that was my problem too. I played GTA Online when it first came out, and there were a ton of issues, and there wasn't a lot to do. But like you, I played the campaign for GTA 5 on the 360. It was the last game that I went to a midnight release for.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is 2013, I think, right?
Sure.
So this was a sunsetting game on those consoles, and the game looked amazing on those consoles. I can't believe it worked. It was a truly
really
cinematic game story experience on those consoles, and I can't believe they were able to make it work. But yeah, GTA Online at that time was nothing to write home about.
Nothing to write home about.
I know it's expanded over the years.
Yeah.
I think eventually they added the online heists. They never added single player DLC, which that was a little disappointing. But they were selling those shark cards.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like you said, the shark cards are not going to be sold anymore after September 15th. I would recommend don't buy any now anyway. Stop buying shark cards. We're not we're not getting GTA 6 until you stop buying shark cards.
Yeah, just don't buy. It doesn't matter what. If you're playing it on PC, if you're playing it on Xbox One, stop buying shark cards.
You've bought enough.
I mean, you say single player DLC, but like Rockstar is not a single player company anymore. I'm not even joking. It's an online services, games as a service company, and they just thinly veil that behind a good single player game. They hook you in with that. You play it once. You might return the game. No, you're not going to return it because you're playing online. That's what it's all about.
We are lucky that Red Dead 2 wasn't just completely online.
Yeah.
I will not. No one will be shocked if GTA 6 is just an online game, right?
Absolutely not. It sounds kind of cool if it was just online. I might buy it if there's like a story and it's online and it's kind of like a weird MMO. I could play that.
They can make it work.
If there's no story, I don't know. I don't know if they can do a Battlefield 2042 or something and just ship something, no story, and rest on the online. Don't know if it's going to work the same way in a GTA game and not a shooter. So we'll have to. I mean, I don't know. Is GTA a shooter? I don't know. I just said it's not a shooter, but I don't know. Kind of. Not an FPS though.
Third person action game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, like people people love GTA Online. Like the game is in the every month still it's in top 10 for best selling games. Like people,
Look at Twitch. Look at Twitch streams. All the
yeah,
RP streams. Like that stuff is so popular. Like I don't blame Rockstar for not making more. They're making what people want, and people are saying, "Yes, please. I want more." They
yeah.
like this. So
So you know what? I don't. How many people were playing on the 360 and the PS3? Who knows? But yeah, after December 16th later this year, those servers are going down. They're going to push everyone to the last gen and current gen. And
go on Craigslist, buy yourself a PS4 for $100 or something, and get yourself GTA 5 on that to last another few years until they
side note,
shut down those servers.
I think they're also shutting down stuff for LA Noire and Max Payne 3. So it's not just those. But
That's good to know. Yeah, which is good. And finally, a game that something that we kind of all were expecting, I think, at some point, but hasn't quite happened. We all know everyone loves old school RuneScape. That went to mobile in 2018, and everyone was collectively, I think, pretty happy about that. Well, now we have RuneScape 3 launching on iOS and Android. Just happened as of, I believe, Thursday. When's that happening?
yesterday, Thursday.
Okay, perfect. Thursday. So that's happening. Pretty exciting. And I don't know. Does anyone still play RuneScape 3? I feel like old school RuneScape came out and kind of took the thunder away from RuneScape 3 a lot, but I think there definitely is a player base. I don't know. Tell me more, Matt. I feel like you follow RuneScape a little bit better than I do.
Yeah, as the resident MMO
Yes.
aficionado. Yeah, RuneScape 3, as I guess we'll call it, it's technically just like RuneScape proper.
Modern RuneScape, whatever you want to call it.
But yeah, RuneScape 3 has an audience. Old school RuneScape is definitely bigger. But yeah, I mean, I think it's shocking that it took this long to come to mobile.
Yeah.
Old school RuneScape has done really well on mobile. Like I said, like you said, it's been there since 2018. Kind of shocked that they weren't being developed for mobile like at the same time. But yeah, it's done really well. I guess they use that as the testing ground. I haven't played old school RuneScape on mobile, but from what I understand, it works really well.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the kind of games, at least with old school RuneScape, it lends itself to a mobile situation really well. I mean, it's point and click on a PC as it is. So RuneScape 3, a little bit different. There's a little bit more going on.
That's why I feel like maybe the development probably took a little bit more time, right? Because it's a bit more of an interesting game.
That one I think I will give a shot just because I'm curious to see how it works, because you are pressing more buttons. You do have like ability hotkeys, I believe, in modern RuneScape. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that works. But
they'll probably do that thing they do in a lot of mobile games where you have like your movement and then you have like kind of your abilities on the other thumb.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It could be something like that.
Could be. Or maybe they'll do something totally different. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I was just assuming it would be point and click movement, but maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe they'll have like a joystick.
A lot of games do the joystick, I think, on mobile, even if they're normally point and click, just to simplify. I know that Riot and a lot of other like MOBAs and stuff on there do that, even though most MOBAs on the PC are point and click. A lot of MOBAs, well, I would say every MOBA I've played on mobile is joystick controls, because point and click just is not as intuitive, because you're taking up all the space on the screen when you're shoving your big finger there.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, not a huge piece of news, but for anyone who's interested in giving it a shot, it is out now on iOS and Android, and Old School's been out since 2018. So if you haven't played it yet, give it a shot.
Final thing to mention too, I just wanted to bring up, because we didn't have it in our notes, but I did want to bring up some of the Game Awards stuff, just a little tiny bit. Just
the E3 awards from the
E3 awards. What I was going to say specifically is it was the most anticipated game award being for Forza Horizon 5. I thought was kind of interesting. I think a lot of people thought that was kind of interesting. Just wanted to have a quick little download of that before we go as a little bonus, because I noticed that, especially under the guise of them saying the most exciting or anticipated Xbox game is Halo Infinite, but the most anticipated game is Forza Horizon 5, which I thought was kind of interesting, because there's a lot of games I feel like people are more anticipatory for.
I'm
Why
down
do
with
we think
that.
it was Forza Horizon 5? Why do we think like why? Why do we think it was that? Not Starfield, not Elden Ring.
We
Do you
saw
feel like maybe
so
it's because
much
of
of it.
this year?
I think it's just because we saw so much of the game. I'm kind of surprised it wouldn't be Elden Ring, just because we actually did see a decent amount of that. That was a
Yeah.
pretty generous trailer. Um,
Yeah.
we saw in-game, like in-engine footage for Starfield, but we didn't see like
Yeah.
true gameplay really.
Yeah.
Halo, actually, Halo, we did see a lot of multiplayer, but I can see
Yeah.
how there might still be a little bit of stink on that from last
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But I'm totally fine with it. Forza Horizon 5 is not going to be some, massive game. I mean, it's going to have its
Yep.
niche audience, and those people are going to love it. But I'm totally fine with that game getting that award. I mean, it looked awesome, and they showed us a ton. So yeah,
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, it's one of those things, right? Where and it was based on different gaming journalist outlets and things, I think, too, in their opinions. So I think it's probably a case of like a bias maybe towards games that we see more gameplay from that are actually going to come out like relatively before the next E3, stuff like that. Like I know
yeah.
Elden Ring is supposed to, but also like who knows? Like what this year are we kind of excited about? So that kind of makes sense. Also, my main thing is I feel like because they already gave every other game the top of their category, and Halo Infinite just like had to take the Xbox category. It was unfair to poor Forza Horizon, who was also a very good game, to not have any spot in the most anticipated list. So they're like, we'll just give it like best game. We're most excited for it. So,
It's
and this
fair.
being
It's
said,
fair.
as like someone who really loves those games, and I think it looks amazing. I just feel like it looks like another Forza Horizon, and it's kind of funny to say like it's the most anticipated game. So that was kind of a hot button issue. I feel like, and it was worth kind of bringing up just because I thought it was kind of interesting.
It looked so like it just
Uh,
visually it just
believe,
looked so
believe
good
me,
though.
I'm totally on board. I'm so excited for it as someone who loves those games. But yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of like thinking like, really, Elden Ring? Like Jeff Keighley was practically pooping himself over Elden Ring. Kind of funny. So, but I mean, that was a Games Award thing too. So it's like weird to think like, are they allowed? Like, did they show that? Does that count of like most anticipated games at E3? Because that wasn't at E3. It was at Summer Games Fest. It's like
Oh,
back to
you
your
know
thing earlier
what?
in the week. Because a lot of people were saying that it could have been because they didn't announce it because it wasn't an E3 game.
That no, I'm sure that's it. I'm sure that's
So
it. That's a great
that's something
point.
too. I saw someone say that, and I was like, I forgot all about that. It's back to your thing earlier in the week. We were saying like, how do we know what's Summer Games Fest? How do we know what's E3? How do we? It's hard to keep track of what's being announced at what.
Great point.
So
That's got to be
yeah,
it.
yeah, something interesting. Anyway, that was our extra little bonus bit, but that is going to be it for your GG replay today, Friday, June 18th. I hope you're having a lovely end of your week. And this was the end of the first week of GG Replay. So congrats to us. And thank you so much for listening. Anyone out there listening right now, really, really appreciate it. We're so excited to be able to talk about this stuff every day. And we're looking forward to talking about it every week till the end of time, until we're old. And also, hopefully more days of the week. If you like it and keep listening, you'll get more. We're really excited.
One last thing.
Anything else anything else to say?
The show is now also entering some podcast feeds for an audio only
Yes.
version of the show. So
You might be listening to it on audio only already.
you might be. If it's not on your podcast provider, let us know in the comments.
Absolutely. We're on YouTube. We're on all your podcast providers. So if you want video, you can get us on YouTube. Everything else is on audio. So whatever you're listening to now, there's also the other one. So go listen to it twice so we can get more views, you jerk. I'm sorry for calling you a jerk. That's a bad way to end out the show. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to speaking to you next week, where there is probably going to be almost no news. So get excited for that, because we are going to find some stuff to talk about, and it is going to be shorter.
We're going to milk that teat dry.
Oh, that's an even worse way to end the show. See you later, everyone.
All right, I'm off to play Rift Apart. See you guys.